Agentic AI, it's the term that's everywhere right now, isn't it? This idea of AI that can think, plan, and actually act on its own to get complex stuff done. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, and companies are just racing to make it a reality. But here's the thing. There's a huge gap between that big promise and what's actually happening on the ground. So let's cut through the noise and figure out what's real and what's just hype.
And that really brings us to the million-dollar question that everybody's asking. Is agentic AI the next big revolution, or is it just the latest tech buzzword we're all going to forget in a year? In this explainer, we're going to break it all down and show you exactly where the real value is hiding today.
You know, what I love about this slide is how it just lays the whole problem bare. The promise, the dream they sold us was incredible, right? Fully autonomous AI running whole departments, giving us these unbelievable leaps in productivity. But the reality for the folks actually trying to build this stuff, it's a whole different story. It's tough. The deployments are super complex. Trying to scale them is a major headache, and the wins we're actually seeing, they're in these very specific, very targeted little pockets.
But here's the thing. This gap, this disconnect between the promise and the reality, it's not a sign of failure, not at all. What we're actually seeing is something I like to call the Great AI Reset. It's this moment of maturation where we're all shifting away from those dreamy blue sky concepts and getting serious about creating grounded, practical, and provable value, like right now.
And this right here, this is the absolute core of that reset. We've got to stop thinking about one single, all-powerful AI agent that does everything. Instead, we need to start thinking in terms of an agentic workflow. It's a much more realistic and, frankly, a much more powerful idea. It's a series of tasks, all linked together, handled by specialized AI agents, but, and this is the most important part, with the human still in the loop, guiding the whole thing to get a specific job done.
So what does this reset actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Well, it means every single project has to have a clear return on investment. No more science projects. It means we accept that having a human in the loop isn't a bug, it's a feature, it's essential. The goal is to solve specific, narrow problems, not try to boil the ocean. And ultimately, it's about prioritizing real, tangible value over the novelty of just using the cool new tech.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually put it into practice? Let's get down to brass tacks and talk about how you can find that perfect starting point for agentic workflows inside your own company. Here's a super simple 4-step playbook you can use. First, you have to map out how you work today. Be brutally honest. Second, hunt down the pain points. You know, the bottlenecks, the soul-crushing, repetitive tasks that just drain your team. Third, take a hard look and assess which of those things actually have real potential for AI automation. And finally, and this is so crucial, start small. Pick a low-risk pilot project to prove that it works and build some momentum.
And believe me, this is not some abstract, futuristic idea. Just look at these everyday examples. For marketing, imagine automatically qualifying leads or personalizing thousands of emails. In sales, think about all that CRM data entry just gone. For HR, screening the first round of resumes. Or in finance, processing invoices. These are the perfect kinds of high-value, repetitive tasks where an agentic workflow can make a huge difference, like tomorrow.
Now, once you find a process, you're going to need the right tools. And when you're looking at different platforms, you have to ask these critical questions. How easily does this thing plug into the systems we already use? How much human babysitting is this going to need? Can it grow with us, or are we going to hit a wall in 6 months? And of course, the big one, how are you handling our data and is it secure? These are not afterthoughts, they are day one essentials.
Okay, to really see how this all comes together, let's look at an amazing real-world example. LinkedIn didn't just talk the talk, they actually built a really powerful agentic AI platform. And their story just perfectly illustrates how these principles work in action.
This quote from their team it says it all. See what they did there? Their goal wasn't to build some godlike agent that knows everything. Nope. It was to build a platform of specialized agents, a team, that all work together to streamline very specific workflows in marketing and sales. It's the agentic workflow mindset in its purest form. And the results? Well, they speak for themselves. By focusing on these specific workflows, they saw a 25% productivity gain in the sales teams they targeted. I mean, that's not a hypothetical number, that's a real, measurable impact on the business. And here's another way to wrap your head around that impact. Their platform is saving over 10,000 manual work hours every single quarter.
Just take a second and think about what your team could achieve with all that time back. It's just a staggering amount of value.
So, what's the big lesson we can learn from LinkedIn's success? It really boils down to this super simple formula. They started small, they were laser-focused on specific, high-value workflows, and they built a platform that was designed to scale from day one. They followed the Great Reset playbook to a T.
Which, of course, brings this whole conversation right back to you. We've seen the reset, we've walked through the framework, and we've seen the real-world proof. So the big question now is, what is your next step? How can you take these exact same lessons and apply them to your organization? So let's just quickly nail down the key takeaways. Number 1, this AI reset is a good thing. It's about being pragmatic, not about failure. 2, your journey starts by finding one specific, high-value workflow to make better. 3, learn from the pioneers, like LinkedIn. Start small and stay focused. And finally, remember, the future isn't one giant AI brain. It's a well-coordinated team of specialists.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. For just a moment, forget all the hype about super-intelligent, world-changing AI, and instead, ask yourself this one simple, practical question. What is the very first bottleneck in my business, right now, that an agentic workflow could help solve? The answer to that question, that's your starting point.